if I wanted to learn how to make wine, I'd probably go to one of the vineyards around my area, talk to the people there, get the information I wanted, learn how the process is made, and probably get a decent understanding out of it from people that actually roll up their sleeves and do the business. I probably wouldn't go to my Uncle Bob and talk to him because he likes to down a half a case of Chardonnay every other night and get his opinion on how things work. It's because one of these people has actual real world experience in it, and the other one has a different kind of experience with it. But yet so much of our stuff that we do in our life, we rely on secondhand sources, people that have never participated, never dealt in, never got real world experience to relay to us the information about different things. And in our episode of Drop the Stones, we talk about this, getting this secondhand nature, especially in our faith in Christendom, when we'd go out and learn stuff and people would talk to us and say, oh, this is what an atheist does. You know, mind you, these are people that maybe have talked to one or two atheists in their life, never experienced it, never really talked to these people. The talking they probably did was more of trying to witness to them and blocking out anything that they said for fear that the devil would take over their mind. But these people are always constantly telling us what an atheist thinks, how they believe, how they're going to act, how they act in the world. Kind of like in our politics, where we're being told all the time that this is how LGBTQ people act. And in the faith, for that matter of fact, this is what they want to do. This is all they're concerned about. They don't have real relationships and never have dealt or had personal relationship with anybody that would associate with the LGBTQ community. And we rely on this information. No questions asked. This is the truth. I remember doing this. Yes, Pastor Teddy told us that this is what an atheist is. This is what a gay man acts like. That's absolutely true. That's how it is. Why would he lie to me? Well, they lie to you because they're afraid that you'll find out the truth. That if you get real world experience and that you actually do the work, roll up your sleeves, talk to people, get to know them, understand where they're coming from, understand their point of view, their perspective, it may shift all the mind control that they've done on you. You see, back to the wine example, if I listen to my Uncle Bob, all I'm going to do is be a drunk down in bottles of wine all the time and understanding that, you know, the price doesn't necessarily mean it's better. If you drink enough of it, it all tastes like it's a $500 bottle of wine. Instead, if I went out and understood what the grapes did and how the environment around the grapes affects the flavors, whatever flowers or farmlands around that has its tentacles wrapped into the flavor of the wine that comes through and the different ways the grapes and how it can change from year to year based on what's growing around it, the conditions that year in the environment, and get a full rounded understanding to understand how to produce a good bottle of wine, you know, that certain yeast, and if you ferment at different temperatures and all this that goes into it, I'd know how to make a decent bottle of wine probably, and I could probably experiment for a while, test for my failures and figure out, hey, I can do this. I can make a decent bottle of wine. But I wouldn't know that if I stayed with Uncle Bob. I'd just be drinking cheap wine thinking I was having the best life ever. So, I mean, it is a naivete. Is that so bad? You're having fun, you're enjoying your life and everything else, but you really don't know what you're talking about. You're not an expert. When you get the experience out there, though, and you understand how to make that wine, you're probably not going to be listening to Uncle Bob too much about his wine anymore. You're going to have a deeper, greater appreciation for what goes into a bottle. You're going to find special things about it, special notes and everything else you wouldn't have noticed before because you have this experience. You know what to look for. You know what to sense. You know what to taste. But yet we still want to defer to this sometimes because it's lazy. It's easy. It's simple-mindedness. Just to take someone else's opinions as gospel truth in everything we do. It's affected our lives tremendously when we broke away from the Christian church and started hanging out with atheists and people of different religions. When we started hanging out with people from the LGBTQ community and just opened up our world around us, we started seeing things in a different perspective. We started seeing humanity for humanity, and it really affected how we viewed the world. It did the absolute effect that they were afraid would happen, because they know it will happen. When you open up your eyes and you see the world for what it is, and you experience the world, and you get people's firsthand experiences on how they live and how they act, and the plights and the oppression that they've suffered, you tend to be less of a dick and less judgmental towards other groups in the world. You tend to be more compassionate and empathetic. And I know empathy is one of the greatest mortal sins now being preached by the Christian church, because empathy will destroy what the church has produced right now. It'll bring understanding and acceptance to people that they don't want to accept. They have a very exclusive club in politics and in church that you have to meet certain criteria in order to join up. And they don't want people that don't meet that, because that will ruffle their feathers and take away their power and control. We just need to open our eyes and experience the world. Stop listening to Uncle Bob and maybe do some of the work and get some of the understanding and dealing with people ourselves and grow into a nation that we need to be.